I now call on our new IFA President, Joe Healy, to address you.
Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks, Ger, and All Ireland for Galway. That sounds good. Look, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a long day. It has been a long few months. I know it's only a few months, but when I was proposed at the Galway County Executive, the 19th. It was supposed to be the 12th of April, I suppose, at the time, but the 19th of April seemed a long time away. But time waits for no one. And we are here, and I would just like to thank you all for turning up here today in such numbers. It shows, and it showed right throughout the campaign, the interest that is in the IFA. We've been through a tough period, but we'll come out the other side stronger and better able to fight the future. And I think that's what IFA has to be as we do face the future. The Irish farmers need a strong, united organisation to represent their needs as we go forward. And their needs were never more so than they are now. We see a case of almost all commodities being sold below the cost of production. We see powers that be willing to sacrifice the beef sector, for example, to ensure a Mercosur deal. And, we see the milk, the beef, the tillage, vegetables, all those pig farmers, all those go through very difficult periods. And it's only as a united organisation that we will succeed in achieving what we are and achieving what we are all about. And that's a viable margin for all farmers going into the future. The current level of pay that we take for our produce is not sustainable. And I think, when farmers aren't getting money for their product, it's one thing, it's not good for farmers or their families, it's not good for the local areas, or it's not good for the national economy. Because our agriculture is the cornerstone of rural Ireland and has to be respected as such. So there's a huge job of work there for us all, and all elected officers and all members of IFA throughout the country and staff as well. That job of work is probably more difficult now than it ever has been in the past. We need the support of our government, and we also need the support of Brussels to ensure that the European model of agriculture is safeguarded as we face the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, there'll be other time for more detail. I would just like to thank everyone for being here. I'd like to thank Brian and Ger and the staff and all the volunteers for the counting today. I'd like to thank everyone from all over the country that has been here. And I suppose on a personal level, I'd like to thank my family, Margaret, the three girls, my mother, my brother, my sisters, neighbours, friends, people who travelled to head-to-heads all over the country. And I mentioned earlier on, it's often I look down, I might be in Wicklow or I might be in Dunmanway, and I'd look down over the crowd and I'd see farmers that had left cows calving or ewes lambing at home. And what would be going through my head at that stage would be, Jesus, I hope when you go home that there isn't the head of a calf out and a cow down. But people were willing to do that. And that showed their interest not only in getting me elected, but also in the IFA as a necessary organisation for Irish farming going forward. The team that I've had were just incredible. And I'm not going to single out people, but there are two people I think that even my own team would forgive me for singling out. And that's Anne Mitchell, my team manager, and probably one of the biggest influences in my life, former president of IFA, John Donnelly. The rest of you know who ye are, the amount of time, the amount of work, the amount of miles travelled, the amount of phone calls made, the amount of people that you contacted all over the country. For that, I'm eternally grateful. I hope I amn't leaving out anyone. I want to pay a special mention, and I want to acknowledge the former President Eddie Downey here in the audience tonight. So great to have you here with us, Eddie, and I want to acknowledge the amount of work that you've put into the organisation throughout your life. So thank you very much for that. I'd also like to thank the people that worked for me in all the other counties. And there were individuals and there were teams, and I'm looking down at some of them here, and the work that they put in. They weren't from Galway. Some of them dated back to Mockra days. Other people are people that I've met in the meantime. But my sincere thanks to you all. And just finally, I want to acknowledge two great men and two great IFA men. And, you know, they say if you go for something, it's a bit like if Galway beats Kilkenny in next year's, or when Galway beats Kilkenny in next year's All-Ireland hurling final, or Tipperary, or whatever else. I was barely saved there. But, you know, to beat the best, you know, it gives you even more confidence in your ability to do the job going forward. And I absolutely consider that I was up against the best in Henry and Flor in the campaign today. I feel at this stage that I know Flor very well. We've just about haven't shared the same bed over the last 3 months, but you know, I do know Henry very well. I've known Henry ever since he beat me into second place in the All-Ireland Sheep Stock Judging in 1990, and I'm a long time waiting to get back at him. You know, but you know, they've been two great ambassadors for the organisation. They've put so much time, effort and work into the organisation down through the years. And I'm delighted to hear, and I had no doubt, but they'll be a huge support to me and to the organisation going forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, and I hope I've no one left out, but if I have, it's not done on purpose. I'd like to thank you all again. And look, the organisation needs us all. The organisation needs us to put our shoulder to the wheel and work together, because it's kind of our strength is in our numbers, and working together will greatly help our ability to achieve for Irish farmers. Thank you very much.
I didn't get one of these.